And
Are we gonna see Wolf in the?
of course we get this.
Okay.
This pivotal stuff. Like
we see a puff.
It's interesting in the Wolf case because your friends will push you further than your enemies.
It was a shock to his father and I. A lot of things that I did not know about Demetrius and Terry that was going on. I read about them on the news and stuff.
I saw my brother's picture on the big screen. Really couldn't believe it because I know that's not my brother's character.
Hold up. Diddy did what now? Every time we think we've heard enough of Diddy's shenanigans, something new pops up. Word on the street is 50 Cent has been the one protecting Lil Meech after he found out there was a plot to take Lil Meech out to avenge the death of Diddy's childhood friend, Anthony Wolf Jones. The question everyone is asking now is, why did Diddy allegedly decide to go after Lil Meech over something that Big Meech did? And what exactly did 50 do to protect Lil Meech? Let's get right into it. Okay, so this entire mess started a few days ago when 50 Cent released his highly anticipated documentary titled Sean Combs: The Reckoning. It's a 4-part Netflix documentary that exposed everything about Diddy, including allegations of SA, violence, and exploitation. Baby, 50 Cent went as far as dropping some alleged evidence in the documentary that links Diddy to Tupac and Biggie's deaths. And as expected, Diddy wasn't here for this at all. In a statement, Judah Engelmayer, a spokesperson for Diddy, told TMZ, Netflix's so-called documentary is a shameful hit piece and confirms that Netflix relied on stolen footage that was never authorized for release. Netflix is plainly desperate to sensationalize every minute of Mr. Combs' life without regard for truth to capitalize on a never-ending media frenzy. If Netflix cared about truth or about Mr. Combs' legal rights, it would not be ripping private footage out of context, including conversations with his lawyers that were never intended for public viewing. No rights in that material were ever transferred to Netflix or any third party. But girl, absolutely no one cared about what Diddy and his lawyers were saying. If anything, this documentary actually opened up a can of worms about Diddy's other victims who were not mentioned in the documentary. And one of those people was Lil Meech. Yep, the same Lil Meech that was in 50 Cent's show BMF. Now, for those of y'all who didn't know, Lil Meech's father, Big Meech, was very close to Diddy back in the 90s. But their friendship ended terribly when Big Meech reportedly ended the life of Diddy's childhood friend, Anthony Wolf Jones. Since Diddy couldn't get Big Meech, folks claim that he has since had it out for his son, Lil Meech. So what happened was, back in the early 2000s, Diddy used to hire BMF members for extra security when he was in the South. This is how he and Big Meech became close in the first place. Now, since Meech was hanging around Diddy all the time, he also got close to Diddy's childhood and personal bodyguard, Wolf Jones. Fast forward to November 2003, a incident happened at a nightclub called Club Chaos in Atlanta, when Wolf got into it with Big Meech and some other members of BMF because he saw his ex-girlfriend with Big Meech at the club. Wolf was actually with his friend Riz at the time, and both of them ended up getting thrown out of the club because the argument was getting violent. I'm talking, they were all up in each other's faces and pulling out weapons, y'all. Later that night, Wolf and Riz confronted Big Meech and his group again at the parking lot as they were leaving the club, and that's when things got fatal. They started arguing again, and before anyone realized, shots were fired. Wolf and Riz were shot multiple times and died on the spot. Big Meech was also shot in the buttocks, but he recovered from that in no time. Now, as you can imagine, Diddy was pissed about this. Whatever relationship he had with Big Meech was down the drain. Big Meech basically unalived his childhood friend. That's not something Diddy will just forget. Meech was arrested shortly after and charged with 2 murders. Police questioned him because the fight started with his group. However, the charges were later dropped because there wasn't enough strong evidence, and witnesses did not want to testify in court. The case was left unsolved, but that doesn't mean Diddy ever let it go. And unfortunately for Lil Meech, he became the target. If Diddy couldn't make Big Meech pay for taking out his friend, then Lil Meech will have to. Now, it's unclear what exactly Diddy tried to do to Lil Meech, but whatever it was enough for 50 Cent to step in and protect him. Word on the street is that this is part of the reason 50 Cent hired Lil Meech to star in BMF. Apart from the show literally about his dad, it was also his way of keeping Lil Meech close so Diddy wouldn't get him. And girl, this explains why 50 was so mad when Big Meech came out of prison and started hanging out with Rick Ross, knowing very well that he and Rick don't get along. He didn't just put money in both him and his son's pockets, he literally protected Lil Meech from getting touched by Diddy. Lil Meech would have probably been part of the statistics of Diddy's victims if 50 didn't step in to protect him. 50 was so mad that he even dragged Lil Meech into it by threatening to cancel BMF. 50 posted a screenshot of messages he got from Lil Meech, in which Lil Meech was going off on Rick for starting this mess in the first place. He said, "Now you're mad at me, when I would take the shirt off my back for you. I can't believe this, man. You act as if I'm your enemy. I've only shown you love and loyalty. I'm human. I go through my own ish, but I never switched up on you. F Ross. But he gave my dad some bread so he can afford to pay his bills until our next season starts. This internet ish is throwing me off, man. You know me in real life." And guess what was 50's response was to all this? "What next season, little guy? Lil Meech gonna be on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. I'll give Mona Scott a call for him later today." Oh, but he wasn't done. He went off on Lil Meech, accusing him of being hooked on substances. He said, "I thought about it. I think he was uncomfortable with me and Mime's relationship. I'm telling Mime I don't want him doing drugs. He tells him he used to do X like it's cool. I tell Mime, chill, stop spending all your money. He's telling him how much money he blew. People don't know I had to send Mime to rehab. Russell Hornsby peeped he was high as on set. He started throwing up at a weapons test. Then Lon told me the little guy had whippets in his truck. I said, what the F is whippets? I looked. It's the ish that be in BB gun." If Lil Meech was almost a victim, I can only imagine who else was almost a victim of Diddy. As usual, people had their thoughts like this person who said, "Diddy has a history of being a traitor. This is horrible." Another person said, "Diddy's taking out everyone who knows too much about him. Everyone mysteriously dies." But now I want to know your thoughts. What do you think about Diddy allegedly trying to get a hold of Lil Meech? And do you really think 50 Cent is the reason why Lil Meech is still safe right now? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and don't forget to click here to watch this other very messy video.